All right, I think we're live. Yay!
Yay!
But
Hello,
yes,
everybody.
hi everybody. I hope that a lot of you will join us tonight today. It was exciting to see some new members join us last night.
Yeah,
So from Australia,
yeah,
we're all around the world now. That's exciting.
we are.
But
Did we just have someone else new join as well?
we
We
had 3 last night. I think we had Walter.
Okay.
Walter and Sarah from Australia, and Miranda. I don't know,
Okay.
Pennsylvania, I think. Yeah. So that was cool. That was cool. And it's exciting. But we've had challenges this week. And I know we were just before we went live, we were talking about your stuff going on in your family over in the UK and the
Yeah.
COVID that you've caught there, and then stuff going on here in my family. I hope we don't catch it. And I feel bad. I feel so bad that you feel fuzzy brained and awful and all that. And so I'm hoping that we can get you put a smile on your face at least today. Let's shoot for that goal. There we go. That's a good goal to shoot for.
It's a good goal.
Well, I'm sorry to hear all that. And I know it's not ideal. And this is not, I don't think this is the way we thought 2021 would start.
No.
I thought, 2020 was pretty bad and that 2021 would be
up.
Yeah. We hit bottom. We can only go up from here, right? And
Fingers crossed.
Already, what are we in the second week of January? I feel like it's just another 220. I feel like 220 and 2020 and 2021 are just sisters or brothers or they're best friends. And I'm hoping by the end of 2021 maybe they'll be frenemies instead. I don't know, but it's been challenging. So you've had your challenges with health, challenges in my family, challenges in the US. I have not kept up with what's going on around the world other than the new strain of COVID in the UK that I've kept an eye on for you. A lot of challenges. And so this was a conversation I was not expecting to have until like February or March when it comes to moving forward in 2021 with our writing goals. I figured it probably about February, March, as typical happens when you're having goals, that you start the new year with. You kind of find a point where you're like, I'm just not going to go for it anymore or give up or, change the goal or whatever. But here we are the second week of January and we've had challenges. So it's like, it's a good time to have this conversation, I suppose, and it's tough. And I think there is something to be said for putting aside your goals temporarily, clearly when you're dealing with something, heartbreaking or something illness-wise and stuff, because you can't write empty. Can't write from an empty house. Can't write from an empty head. I don't know. Whatever that saying is. But because there's something we said for self-care, and when you're feeling good, you can get into the flow and write. And when you're not feeling good, it can be a challenge. Yeah. And I don't know, what do you do for yourself in those situations? Not just writing, but in life in general, when you're not feeling up to par, what are some of the things you do for yourself to help you feel better?
Well, what I've been doing this week is just reading stuff rather than trying to write.
Yeah.
So I've been reading my Story Genius book rather than trying to rack my brain and come up with something creative when it just doesn't have it. But hopefully reading stuff, something will still sink in. So.
Yeah. Do you, when you read something like that, do you highlight, because you're reading the actual book you got for Christmas, not a Kindle, right? Like.
Oh, but no. What? No, you can't write on the book.
But it's your book, and it's like,
no. No.
You could annotate the pages. You could how about you could use these? You could use little sticky, things to hide. Yes. Oh, notebook.
No,
yeah.
I just have a notebook.
Old school for sure. Yeah, I know. I'm the same way. I take tons of notes. I'm a note taker.
Can't write on a book. No,
But if it's
this is
yours and you're gonna,
sacrilege.
if it's yours and you're gonna keep it
Mm-mm.
forever and refer back to it, you could just do that. No, okay.
I cannot. That is not to say no one should. Everyone should feel free to do what they wish. But I could not do that.
I'm like you. I take notes, lots of notes. And if it's in a Kindle, I highlight like crazy,
Yeah.
especially once I found out that I could download my highlighted things, whatever percentage they
Wow,
allow
you
you to
can.
download. Yeah, I think there's, I'll have to show you sometime or text you, but
Yeah.
there's, I think that 3 dots or something. I don't know. There is some way that I can
Okay.
upload to notes. I think it comes to notes, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's handy.
You can pull it up, yeah. But I think only a certain percentage, like, because they don't want you copying the entire book.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
yeah. So, what are some of the things you've learned from Story Origin this week?
Oh, Story Genius. Actually, it made me feel a little bit better because to start with, she was saying about don't like pantsing is bad. And I'm like, oh no, she's a plotter and she thinks pantsing is actually, and then she's like, and plotting is also bad. And I'm like, well, all right, that's a bit better.
Yeah.
And she's like, and it's all about the story and the characters,
Mm-hmm.
rather than like the plot and the external events that people are reading for the characters. And I'm like, oh wait, I get that. I think that's right.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah, I like that too. So is she saying that if you figure out all of that stuff, when you sit down to write, what happens will
and she's not
naturally
like,
extend?
you mustn't like plot or you mustn't pants or whatever, but she's like, you've got to know your character to be able to do any of it, because if you don't know your character, you can't even really start.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. We have some people. Here is Sarah. Rolling on the floor. Your reaction was priceless. I don't know which reaction that was. It was probably one of ours, obviously, but so that's good. We're actually I'm putting this on the YouTube channel too, to see if anybody else joins. So there is somebody else who has said hello, so that's nice. Hello back.
Hello, YouTube person.
Yay. And hello, Sarah, our new member of the group. So that's great. I love that. And actually from you and from Megan, I actually do believe this past year I have tried to turn myself from a pantser into a plotter. And I worked really hard on that. But I love what Megan had said a few weeks ago, which is kind of in tune with what you're saying, which is you can plot a few chapters maybe, or 4 or 5, but then let it kind of flow from there, and I like that. And that recently worked better for me, I thought.
That's good.
And so along with what you're saying, developing characters and knowing your characters, that makes it easier to actually come up with what they're going to actually be doing to grow, by the end of the book.
They're the heart of the story, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, you can throw whatever external plot in, but it's how they react.
Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Yeah.
I know I go back and reread like Agatha Christie, the whodunits, and I reread them, and it's clearly not because I've forgotten who committed the crime, because I generally don't. Sometimes. But it's for the characters and their development and their story.
Right. Yeah, it's all about their growth, right? About writing on the book, Sarah said. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I never even in a textbook, like in college or anything, or in school, didn't write. Huh. I mean, if I bought the book and I wasn't intending to return it, as a textbook in college, but
I mean, it makes sense. But
I did have a nun once in school tell us we weren't allowed to dog ear the corners.
Yeah.
You know what dog ear, you flip down the corner to remember where you were. Yeah, she was adamant about that. But that's okay. Okay, so this has been great. So we're talking today. We're going to talk a little more about getting back on track when you're not feeling like writing, just because we don't want to put off writing for months at a time. We want to keep consistent, right? So we're kind of talking about that. We're talking about characters today, a little bit of editing, Um, oh, look at Yaza. I hope I'm saying that right. Says, I'm infamous for cracking book spines. For like bending them backwards, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to read a book without doing that.
Yeah. Without bending the book.
Yeah.
So we're kind of talking about a couple things today as we keep on going and keep these things in mind while we start our first writing sprint of 2021. Yay!
Yay!
Yay! And so what are you going to work on today? We're about to start our sprint, our first sprint.
I'm going to carry on with my short story, I think.
Nice. Was that from one of the Readsy writing prompts or a different story?
No, this is a short story for my dragon book.
Nice. Nice. All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
What are you working on today?
I am under a deadline to get Amy Briggs, my book one, to edit. So she wants it on her desk Monday morning because she's on a schedule, editors,
Yep.
As you are,
That's
you're
right.
an editor, so you know that. And I contracted with her before I knew you. So, I'm excited though. My first book
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Finally going to an editor because that's my main goal this year is to self-publish. So, so I'm spending today and tomorrow just going through the book and editing, and I have a list of things I want to look at, and finally finish my beta readers, edits, comments. So I'm going to work on that.
Oh,
lots of
good
work
luck.
ahead of us. I know, and good luck to everybody who's writing with us. And we'll do our first 20, and we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit more. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good.
So I'm going to set the timer for 20. I'm going to put a message on here that we're writing. If you're writing along with us, get to work and do your writing, and we'll meet back here in 20 minutes. So see you then. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. We we're back. I had some
Hello.
some technical difficulties at first. So it was a little over 20 minutes,
Oh,
but
no.
yeah, we're back. So how did that feel? I know we were talking before we went live that you were feeling a little fuzzy brains and just wanting to, to write and kind of get back into it a little. Do you feel a little better now after this first sprint? How you feeling?
Yeah, a little bit. How did you get on?
So once I figured out my technical difficulties on the screen here, I actually was working down the list of pre-edit checklists, and last night I was like you, I was feeling fuzzy brained. It was a long day yesterday doing family stuff, and so I just was glad to be on the chat on our Facebook group because gave me a little distraction to get my mind back into things. But I started working on the word go,
Okay.
finding and replacing and trying to find better verbs, more exciting verbs and stuff. And so I got about halfway through my book, and that was what I went back to just now, was working through that. But it's interesting how much I used that. Like, this whole pre-editing process has been fascinating to really dig into my writing habits, and using the word go or going is often used 400 some odd times. Although the find and replace actually pulled up anything with go in it. Like, I have a golfer as a character, and so golf was often brought up as well. So I, of course, ignored those, but yeah, it is fascinating. So like at one point I had, if you want me to go, I'll go. And so I was like, if you want me to leave, I will. Just trying to, change up all the goes, I suppose. But would love to hear from any of you who are still writing with us. If anybody's still with us, let us know what you did and what happened. How about word count, Allie? Did you get a word count going for yourself today?
I got 386.
Yay you. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Given that I cut about 100 words and restarted because I'd done a little bit of the next scene.
Yeah.
But it was telling, and I wanted to do more showing, So I cut a little bit and restarted, and then I wrote myself into a corner straight away.
Yeah.
I kind of stared at the screen for 5 minutes and went, oh, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So
you figured it out.
Then I made it a dragon, and now it's moving along.
Oh, yay. Those dragons. So, they come in handy. That's great.
Right?
Yeah.
I thought I haven't really had one in much, so let's put one in.
In your dragon story. It's important. Yeah. Oh, that's
Make
great.
him kind of an asshole and see where that goes.
A bearded one.
No, not so far. No.
Okay. No, that's great. No, I'm so glad to hear you, and your voice is sounding a little better, and it's nice to hear you doing that and smiling and laughing. That's great. No, I think that oftentimes we can stop ourselves. So we had been talking at the beginning of our session about finding a point where you're like, I'm just going to give up this week, or give up today, or not write, or anything like that. And I think it just depends on your goals and being consistent toward those. I can be pretty intense. So when I want to go for something, I am like, I'm doing it, and I'm going to do it every day. But then I can stop myself pretty much just as easily. So, so for me, the only way I find to do it is to just say, I'm doing this every day, and I'm doing it consistently. But like yesterday, when it was so easy to kind of give up for the day and such, I looked back, over the past week, and just looked, okay, what was I able to do? What was I able to accomplish? And just pat yourself on the back, for getting as far as you did this week, despite it all, despite all the challenges and difficulties. So that made me feel better. And I was able to kind of say, okay, give myself a little break. That's fine. But I think the real challenge is making sure you don't give yourself a week off, and then that turns into a month, and then that turns into 2 months. And before you know it, you're not going to meet any of the things you really wanted to set out to do for the year. And so if we can just, tell ourselves it's okay, pat ourselves on the back, see what you did accomplish so far, and just get back into it, with a consistent routine. I think that's the best thing to do. So that's what worked for me yesterday. What about you? Any advice or anything that you go through when it comes to your challenges, which you've had a lot lately? What helps you to keep on going and not give up?
Wine.
Knowing your why?
Gin.
Huh? What?
Gin. I like gin.
Gin, whiskey. Gin. Yeah, that's helpful.
No, it's just keep it going, knowing you've got to just sit down at the computer and do something. And I like writing, so it's like I haven't done any work this week at all, any editing, because you can't edit for someone else. You can't take someone's money and edit when your head is foggy, because that's just that's not going to go well.
I imagine concentrating line by line, and that is probably a little tougher than just letting your fingers flow with writing. But
exactly. And writing, you can always go back and you can edit it later, and add in all the little details that come to you when your mind is not fog. But, yeah. Well,
I think that the other thing that helped me too was having this scheduled, this writing time today, and that helped me. I'm not going to give up because I have to meet you. I told you I would meet you at a certain time to write, and I can't give up tomorrow because Megan has her writing session. I'm going to join in on that. And it's like, that has been really helpful since we started this in December. I probably until September this past year, my writing was very, not consistent. And then since September, and I discovered writing sprints and things like that, and different groups writing and YouTubers writing sprints, that has helped me, because it's like, it wasn't mine, but I was able to say, okay, they're meeting, I'll do it, and I'm going to do it. And so developing our own writing times has been a huge help, because, knowing I have to be accountable to you to meet somebody else to write is like, I mean, it's not like you're going to throw me in jail if I don't meet you to write, but it's like,
no, but it's knowing, isn't it?
Yes. It's like, I'm accountable to you. We're writing buddies. We just, we're going to make it happen this year. So, so that's helpful to me too, to keep going when things are not optimal, for our lives and stuff. So, okay. Well, shall we start another sprint?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we will go another 20, and I'll set the timer, and we'll meet you guys all back here. If anyone's writing with us, be sure to comment. All right.
Yeah, let us know how you did.
Yeah. All right. See you in another 20.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're done with that 20 minutes. So if anyone's watching right along with us, tell us what you have been doing for the writing sprints today, if you're joining us. Otherwise, how did that feel, Allie? How'd that second sprint go for you?
Yeah, it was okay. It's hard today. My brain's really not with it, but I'm getting somewhere.
Yeah. That's what I felt like the other night. I thought, if I wasn't feeling it, even if I write mush, at least it's something. It can always be, the words can always be changed around or done something with later in editing, like you said,
That's right. Yeah.
But I know it's hard when you're mush, when you're fuzzy brained.
Fuzzy.
Yeah. Do you want to share anything? You want to talk through any of what you're writing right now, or is it anything you want to make sense of?
No, I suddenly remembered that dragons hunted magical humans, and she's a magical human, so she would probably be quite scared that this dragon was sent after her. So then I looked back to see what I'd written, because I didn't feel like I'd made her scared enough. But it turns out I kind of had, so that was okay.
Oh, good. But so are they going to hunt her then, or certain dragons, the bad dragons, like you mentioned last time we wrote?
Yeah, but they can't, because she's not going to be able to beat them, and she's got to survive another 21 years where she was, so they can't find out about her. So therefore this can't be a bad dragon. So now he's becoming a good dragon. So,
see, you worked it out. That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. There's probably a reason why every dragon appears in her life, right?
There is. Yeah.
And then you also you added was it a wolf? Last time you added a wolf?
That was in the longer story.
Wolf. Oh, a longer story.
Okay. Yeah. The wolf's in the main book. So she's avoided the wolves. She swore at them in bad language.
Did you create a language, or like a real English language?
No, she actions, bad actions.
Yeah.
Like, ha! There. Swear words.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Are you going to have swear words throughout your book, or how does fantasy feel about that? Is there general, in the fantasy genre, do they generally use swear words, or?
I haven't worked that out yet. A lot of the fantasy I've read, or none of the fantasy I've read really uses swear words, but most of it was traditionally published 30, 40 odd years ago, or was written aimed at young adult, maybe. And prior to today's young adult, which has swear words all over the place, like Tamora Pierce, I love her. Her fantasy books, but none of them have swearing. They're all aimed at a younger age, which is funny because the first series that she wrote, she originally wrote as one book for adults.
Oh, wow.
And then her publisher or her agent told her to split it up, and she got 4 books out of it that would probably these days be middle grade to young adult.
So are there, within the fantasy genre, can you split it up so it's adult fantasy versus young adult?
Yeah, I would think so. I know there's plenty of young adult and stuff fantasy, but I need to look more into what the assumptions, guidelines, tropes, that kind of thing. Seriously, fuzzy brain, can't think of the word.
No, totally get it.
Expectations, that's it. What the expectations are for different kinds of fantasy. But I haven't done that yet. So.
Cool, very cool. Well, what do you said this is a short story, so is there going to be is it a short story within the longer story that you're writing, or like an additional, or an epilogue, or? A
It's
freebie leading up to your real story that you're publishing or something.
see that's what I thought, that I would start it as a like a reader magnet type thing, but I'm not sure if I will. It very much comes before the story because it's about my main character's mother. Um, but I don't know if it's one that I want to put out before the main story or as a freebie for my readers
Like
after the main story or what.
right, like at the end of your main story, the back matter would have a link to it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's cool.
So,
Yeah, I often think of like great little stories that could be add-ons or
yeah.
precursors to this story or whatnot. But you're right, you have to strategically think about marketing and how that's going to fit into it all and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, but being her mother of your main character, I mean, that kind of sounds like a precursor, which might be kind of cool.
Yeah.
A reader
Well,
magnet. Hmm.
yeah. This is because the main character in my story, she has magic, but her magic has been suppressed all her life until just the start of my book.
Hmm.
And the short story that I'm writing is her mother going off to get the artifact that will suppress her magic because she's very scared because her baby's showing magic, and that's very dangerous. So
Does the mother in your short story, is she going to have uh, a good dragon appear in her story?
I am not going to tell you.
Yeah, spoilers. I guess we shouldn't. Yeah,
Yeah, no
funny.
spoilers.
All right, so I got done with Go. I am moving on to tackling. I need to now read through and do some serious kind of rearranging of some stuff. Not rearranging, but kind of just give some thought to the direction. I also need a little more descriptive stuff in there. And showing versus telling is just the worst for me. So
Yeah.
that's what I really am going to spend today on. So it's going to be my next sprint. So let's do our final sprint.
Yeah.
Okay, we're up for one more 20 minutes. If anyone's writing with us, write along, put your comments in if you're here.
Yeah, let
Maybe
us
it
know how
might
you're
just be
doing.
only us now. I don't know, but
It
we're
might be.
writing. We're writing. It's all that matters. So,
Yep.
all right. So I'll put the timer on for 20. See you then.
Okay.
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 Okay, and that is our final 20-minute sprint for today. How'd you do?
Hello. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
760 words in total today.
Yay! That's something to be proud of. Love it.
I just had to go hunting for a file because I know I'd made some changes a couple of days ago and they disappeared from my file. So,
Oh, no.
but thankfully, I found version history.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
recovered them. Yeah, that was nice.
Yay! Yeah. Well, even through all my edits, I went from 65,762 to 65,756. I went up 4.
Excellent.
And I know. We have another person joining. That's interesting. But we're about to finish. We're done. So maybe they'll join us next time we write, which will be Tuesday at 3 o'clock Eastern time. And and I think Tuesday I'm going to work on, book 2 outlining and get that going because I will hopefully be done with this one in the hands of the editor Monday morning. So that will be great. And and I hope Tuesday we both feel better. I know we were kind of both a little off today and feeling all kinds of fuzziness and issues encroaching on our writing. But hopefully Tuesday we'll feel better. We'll be a new week, right? Get new energy from a new week.
That's right.
Yeah. That's right. All right, so that concludes this sprint time. I hope it was helpful. And we will keep posting in the group. It's been fun to post in the group, a lot of neat topics lately. So I will see you there and be back with you on Tuesday.
Okay, take care.
Writing sprint. You too. I hope you feel a lot better.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, big time. All right, we'll see you next time.
Okay, bye-bye.
See ya, bye-bye.